A man is sitting in a Brazilian prison cell. He has a burner phone, and he's calling his students, not to say goodbye, nor to apologize, but to tell them what to say. That is where this story ends up. But to understand how a man gets there, you have to understand what he built and how long his empire was protected. This is Grounded Ramblings, dark side of the mat. Let's break the silence and tell the world, one story at a time. Chapter 1. A black belt police investigator. There is a specific kind of trust that exists inside a martial arts gym. It is not the same as trusting a teacher or a coach in a conventional sense. It goes deeper than that. You are handing someone your physical safety, you're showing up tired, sometimes broken, sometimes scared. You follow instruction without always understanding why. You endure discomfort because you have been taught that discomfort is the path. That relationship only works if the person at the top earns it. And for years, one man in Brazilian jiu-jitsu appeared to have earned exactly that. His name is Melqui Galvão. Black belt, decorated coach, police investigator, father of one of the sport's biggest stars, a man with rank on both sides of his life, inside the gym and inside the system. That combination matters because it is not just about what he allegedly did, it is about how long it allegedly stayed hidden and why. Chapter 2. The Man and the Image. Melqui Galvão did not arrive as an obscure figure. His lineage traces through the Gracie family. His students include Diogo Reis, Thalisson Soares, Fabricio André, and his son Mika Galvão, currently one of the most recognized names in competitive jiu-jitsu. He ran Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu College, a gym network operating out of Jundiaí and Manaus. He trained the Rio de Janeiro Batalhão de Operações Policiais Especiais, also known as BOPE. This police group were made famous in the 2007 Brazilian movie Tropa de Elite. Melqui Galvão appeared regularly in photographs alongside senior members of the Amazonas Policia Civil, and he held a tenured position as a police investigator, reportedly heading a special anti-kidnapping unit in Manaus. That is a significant amount of institutional cover. A man that connected does not just build a reputation. He builds a force field. Now here is the first detail that should make you stop. This was not his first encounter with serious allegations. Before the gym network, before the competition results, Brazilian reporting indicates his tenure with the police in Amazonas ended under a cloud. He was suspected of killing an unarmed man during an operation. The operation was filmed. There is an obvious cut in the footage. News reports at the time said he was imprisoned following this incident. But a local media outlet found him at a jiu-jitsu event that same month. The prosecutor overseeing the operation was placed on unpaid leave for 3 months. Melqui resumed his police duties, and he built BJJ College. Chapter 3. Down the Rabbit Hole. Let's pause here for a second and dive a little deeper into this story before we get to the Rome incident. In May 2011, Melqui Galvão was a serving member of FERA, the Força Especial de Resgate e Assaltos, an elite special operations unit of the Amazonas Policia Civil. FERA launched Operation Cachoeira Limpa, an investigation into a network of child sexual exploitation in Presidente Figueiredo, which is located roughly 100 kilometers outside Manaus. The target and main person of interest was a 25-year-old local businessman named Fernando Pontes, known as Ferrugem, Rust or Rusty in English. The court had issued a search and seizure warrant, not an arrest warrant. Fernando Pontes was not under a detention order. A representative of the state prosecutor's office was present and filmed the operation. The footage shows police, led by Melqui, smashing in the front door and entering the property. Women and children can be heard crying, scared in the background. Officers approach a bedroom door, yelling out instructions. Pontes opens it, both hands raised above his head. He stumbles, falls onto the bed, rises again, hands still raised. 5 shots are fired at close range. His 2 young children were in the next room. I am not playing the whole footage here. It is graphic. It is publicly available if you want to find it. What matters for this story is what investigators said when they watched it. The footage then has a visible cut, and when the recording resumes, a .32 caliber revolver has appeared on the bed beside the body. The internal affairs investigator who reviewed the footage said publicly, "There is no doubt that the victim was not armed, and, therefore, he was murdered." The prosecutor who reviewed it said, "Watching the tape, you reach the conclusion that what occurred there was really an execution." Melqui de Lima Galvão, aka Melqui Galvão, was named by investigators as one of the 2 officers who fired the shots. He was held in preventive custody. When that detention period expired, he was released. He did not leave Manaus. He expanded. He kept the badge. He kept the salary. He built a gym in São Paulo, then another in Jundiaí. He was operating across 2 states simultaneously, a police investigator in one, a coach to children in the other. What was Melqui's real intention behind this execution? I'll let you make your own conclusions. Chapter 4. The Incident. The case that led to Melqui's most recent arrest in April 2026 began with a 17-year-old female athlete. She had been training under him since December 2024. In February 2026, the team traveled to Rome, Italy for a jiu-jitsu competition. It was during that trip that she alleged non-consensual acts took place. She reported it, and then something happened that investigators say accelerated the entire case. Melqui contacted her family. He left audio messages, long ones. In one recording, his voice can be heard saying, "I am completely remorseful, totally distressed. I couldn't sleep last night because of what I did. I think nothing justifies it. Nothing can justify my behavior. As a leader, as a guy who's already of a certain age, I shouldn't have behaved that way towards your daughter." Then, in a second recording, the language shifts. He tells the family she, the victim, treated him differently from other students, that he interpreted her conduct differently. Melqui asks them not to file a complaint. He offers to cover competition expenses. He suggests she stay at the academy until black belt while he keeps his distance. And according to reporting, he went further. He allegedly offered the family a business stake in a gym in Orlando, Florida, and a black belt promotion in exchange for their silence. That is not a man in shock. That is a man managing a situation. Here is what you need to understand about that audio. When investigators obtained those recordings, they did not just have a complaint, they had a sequence, an incident, an admission, and an attempt at suppression, all in the same man's voice. The São Paulo court issued a temporary arrest warrant referencing multiple charges, but by the time police executed 3 search and seizure warrants at addresses in Jundiaí, Melqui was already gone. He had traveled to Amazonas less than 24 hours before the warrants were served. He then surrendered himself to the Amazonas Civil Police on the night of April 27th. As a tenured police officer, he could not be automatically dismissed. That required either a judicial ruling or the conclusion of an administrative proceeding. Think about that for a moment. The man under investigation for crimes against children still held a badge while the legal process caught up. Chapter 5. The scope expands. As investigators widened their inquiry, 2 additional alleged victims were identified. One reported that the alleged conduct began when she was 12 years old. 3 cases, 3 different states. A pattern that, according to investigators, stretched back years. And here is what makes this more than a criminal case. Multiple female students who spoke to SBT reporters off camera said they had tried to report Galvão before. Their complaints went nowhere. Their explanation: his connections with police officers across multiple Brazilian states had blocked those reports from progressing. That is not a coincidence. That is a structure. Consider the network. He trained BOPE officers. He had senior colleagues in the Amazonas Civil Police. He appeared publicly alongside Guilherme Torres, the deputy chief of police, the same man who had publicly declared it a priority of the civil police to defend against crimes against children and adolescents. The mother of one complainant described her experience directly. The feeling today is astonishing. We live in fear, both my husband and I. Unfortunately, we were naive to trust that person. He used the cruelest, most mental methods to coerce and manipulate us. She asked others to come forward, and Nicholas Maragali heard that.